If you enjoy truthful and heartfelt conversations to inspire you to become a better version of yourself, Empowering Stories will help you. Hello, Flor. I'm delighted to see you there again. How are you doing?
Hello, Anna. I'm fine. After all these morning shenanigans.
Yeah, sometimes she was telling me before, Flor, that life is never what we think it's going to be. And I wrote it down because it's so true. We had scheduled this call for a bit before, but things happened. And because some things happened, we just flew with them. And well, they were very helpful for me, these things happening, because she helped me so much. So from here, thank you very much, Flor.
Oh, thank you.
And today, you might know Flor from another interview if you speak Spanish, but she has so many things to say to the world that she's kindly agreed to have an interview, to hold an interview in English today. And the purpose of this interview is that precisely purpose. Life on purpose, living your purpose, lighting the fire of peace, awaken the giant within, to copy Tony Robbins. Now I'll be quiet and you're here for a treat.
You mentioned some little points or big points like purpose, lighting the fire of peace, and life is not a dress rehearsal, as a friend of mine used to say. It's like, no, I used to love it, this expression. Yesterday I was remembering this image a lot because every time I have stage fright, so I cannot be on stage, or well, I can, but it takes me to jump over this paralyzing fear that I have. And every single time I will make myself smaller or diminish myself or not come up with the real power or the real presence that we can really have just by being ourselves. So he was all the time, Flor, life is not a dress rehearsal. So it's like, here now, no matter what happens, you are just asked to give the best of yourself. And with what life presents us, and sometimes it presents us with so many obstacles, difficulties, and strange situations. This is one of the reasons why I understand again and again how important peace is, because from this inner peace, we are much better able to respond, not to react to a situation, but to respond. Because reaction means something happens and you react. And obviously, if we are going to think in Newtonian terms of action, reaction, this is what's happening in politics, in the world, everywhere, because this is just like action, reaction. And sometimes we are not aware of our actions or even of how we communicate or which emotional turmoil are we bringing to the table, because it's not just about what is obvious. What is not obvious or what is not to be seen, like the power of our emotions, the power of our intentions, all of this affects the other person. So this is why I come back to peace all the time. Because that's where you hold the true power of oneself, is to be present, is to be innocent in the moment and create something new. I don't have to respond. We don't have to respond from a space of anger, fear, doubt, all these little things that constrict us and constrict any process that we're involved in. So it's better to stop, relax, go back to peace, center oneself. Sometimes, honestly, to be deeply, deeply honest, we can even put our hands together and say, okay, I surrender all this turmoil and please show me the way. Yeah. And so we can ask the divine, we can ask the angels, we can ask. Each of us has a different belief system, the universe, God, the Buddhas, whatever. The Buddha would think that, like this morning I was singing Om Mani Padme Om. And this just permeates, like whatever is good for you. What happens is that you start feeling the peace from within yourselves, from within your mind, from your emotional field. There's so much debris in society. There's so much, each generation had their lessons to face. All those lessons that were not acknowledged or that were not actualized have resulted in where we are right now as a collective. So this important thing is there is debris. There's obviously debris. We can look at the world outside and see, all right, there is a lot of going on that is not in alignment with the highest truth of why we are here or who we are or what is our life on purpose or our realization. So it's interesting to observe this, go back inside, go deep inside, and what do I need to clear within myself? What do I need to let go of? What do I need to release? What do I need to unlock to go back to the peaceful way where the highest possibilities are present because we are free to access them? So more or less, lighting the fire of peace is about that. It's about let's get liberated from outmoded patterns of behavior, from limiting beliefs, from the lack of unity within ourselves. Because when we are in unity with the divine within and we act accordingly and we speak accordingly, everything falls into place neatly. And let's not be worried about the disruptions, because the disruptions sometimes center the ball. It's like, okay, we didn't expect this. Yeah, it's like, oh my God,
Indeed.
everything, the most horrible happens and you don't expect this. But when this happens, it's asking you to go that step forward that you've never done it because you just remain there like in your comfort zone. And we've all remained in our comfort zones. But comfort zones sometimes are very beautiful. This is why they are called comfort zones. You know, sometimes it's like, oh yeah, it's like, I'm happy here. Yes, you're happy there. Are you really? This is the question. It's like we really have to ask honestly to ourselves. Am I really happy not being fully myself? Or am I really happy not being in alignment of what I'm here to do? So this was the questions I asked myself when I was in my 30s. And again and again and again. I remember I had so many notebooks in my life. But even when I was teacher at university, I used to, if I had to go to this university or the other one or be an interpreter, before I take the train, I will have my notebook and write, please God, dear universe, all the angels, this is not who I am meant to be. Could you please tell me who I am? And eventually I found it, because everything you ask for, you will receive. And I was very persistent in asking. So I received it. In a course, I was in Italy in a meditation. So many things happened, so much energy. I could feel so much energy that I decided I'm going to Italy to do this course. And in one of these meditations, I could see why everything happens in the way it happens since you are born up till now. Yes. And I could understand, okay, all my life, I'm trying to express to people that peace is truthful, is real, is possible, and that even if you kill somebody in my family, I'm not going to kill you because this is not in my heart. And I remember even when I was a child, my father used to go like, oh, you don't love me because you're saying if someone, and I said, yes, I love you, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to kill the person. Or they were trying, everybody, all my life, I had so many times this conversation. And I have to face so many angry people in my life. And I've been called so many things that are not the truth about myself or something. And it was like, what? This all happened as a trial that I could see that I'm actually the same for 100 people, 1,000 people, all the people anywhere from any culture, from any, that this is simple. It comes to me directly. And then, of course, I had all the spiritual training and so many years of so many things. But the essence of who we are is always there. And this is why nowadays it's becoming very, very popular to talk about the onion look. I used to call it the onion look when I was in my late 20s. Yeah, but it's like to peel the covers of the onion. And this in the Light in the Fire piece, I call it to unfold the blindfulness of forgetfulness, to liberate yourself. It's just that we forget who we are.
Yeah.
And actually, who we are is we are here now. We are angels on earth. You are an angel on earth. This is why you are asking people to interview them, to help each other. You are very aware that we are all together creating this story. We forget because there's so many pressures, there's so many, but some of these pressures are not real. They are imposed on us. Or we seem to choose them freely, but is it true that we are choosing them freely? No. I mean, of course, we're choosing freely to give more of ourselves. Yes. But there are other things that we are not choosing freely. And so this is very important. In yoga, this is called discernment. And it's very important. And this is my biggest task for the last 30 years is discernment. It's very refined because sometimes we can fool ourselves. Or we can be dishonest to ourselves, but not dishonest because we are mean and we want to be dishonest. It's simply that there is a mask that is covering another layer, and this is why it's called peeling the onion. When we are being honest, everything flows again. I thought I was not going to talk so much, and I did.
Oh, it was also interesting and profound, Flor. Thank you so much for that. And that really speaks to my heart. I'm sure that it's going to speak to many people's hearts if or when they are ready to peel the onion, to get rid of some of the layers. Some of the layers are so raw that we're scared to peel the skin there, but it's excellent and it's communion inside. That place that we call fear is not such, it's excellence. It's just that we don't know that excellence. We don't know the joy and the blissfulness of being connected to our own core. We're scared of our own power. Marianne Williamson said, we're scared of our own power.
Yeah.
So it's there. I was going to say that the comfort zone, it's convenient, is known. Are we happy there? Well, it's the known. We know how's there and we feel it's safe. Are we happy there? I don't know. Are we telling ourselves that we are happy there because we're too scared to move one step beyond?
But now, what I was trying to, but this, I'm going to link this to what reality seems to be showing us collectively. And it's like, that was not a happy comfort zone for anybody, because look at what's happening now. And what's happening now is the result of all the things that collectively we didn't want to actualize and look at. Because a lot of people were living not truthful to themselves, not truthful to the earth, not truthful to the oceans, not truthful to the forests. They were not being truthful. How much trash can you put in the waters? The water is pure and sacred for all of us. It's like, it's a life giver that is gonna, like Dr. Masaru Emoto, which is a doctor, and it also studied. Unfortunately. But he's like in researching into water and the properties of water as a living entity from a scientific point of view, because also there is so many misunderstandings about what scientific means. It's always like, I'm always amazed at people who are like, oh, blah, blah, scientific. And I'm thinking, Yes. So what do you know about science? You know, this is another limitation in our minds, that some people only call science what one stream of science. But
Yeah,
science,
yeah,
yes. Science is as deep as the
it's
human mind, but the only
yeah,
thing is we're always catching up with how sensitive are the measurement procedures. This is the like, and in the 20th, now it's going faster and faster and deeper and refinement. But well, it's not the story. Science is not the story of our talk today, sorry. But what I'm trying to say is,
it's just a label. It's just a label.
yes,
Limitations that we put in knowledge because we are that limited ourselves. And we live in that polarity of this is medicine, this is biology, this is chemistry, this is physics, when nature doesn't know of all those labels. Nature works all together in unison with everything,
yes,
seen and unseen, measurable and unmeasurable.
this is the future and the present. If we are already talking about it, we are already rooting it a little bit more. Yes, definitely. Yeah. I have a sentence here from, the only thing is I love quotes that go accompanied by the author, and in this case I think it was a mystic and I don't know the name, but I used to say always at the beginning of the talks about peace I started giving after I had this awakening, and it was, by moving a grain of sand you are changing the whole configuration of the universe. So each
Oh,
of us,
holy
every
cow.
time each of us we move the whole universe, every
Yeah.
time we allow this movement inside of us, we are, every time each of us is coming back to our center to be a light in the world, in this web,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
we are
A beacon of
helping to
light.
move the world to peace. So for me, this is important to regain my purpose, is to be here present, to help as many people as possible to move towards, we are this transmitter and it starts by us. We cannot look at the responsibility of what is doing this one or that one, this politician or the other one, because a lot of things are not what they look, what they appear to be. So we can do something and it's be truthful to ourselves.
Yeah. And in these times that we're living, this is now November 2020, COVID is here, or whatever it is here. It has the name COVID, but it could have been anything else because we brought it upon ourselves. I think in these moments, Flor, let's see if you agree with me, this is when we need to be most in our center, calm, and just allowing, giving the space for everything to be the way it is. Just embrace it and be calm. Just be calm. Breathe in, being in that state, because that way we can hold the possibility for everybody else to be calm rather than live from here fear.
Okay, I wanted to, when you said fear, that the two times you've mentioned fear, it reminded me of a teacher who used to say to us, fear, like, I don't know, 25 years ago or something. Anyway, fear is false evidence appearing real.
Appearing real.
Yeah. And actually, it's kind of amazing, yeah, because I'm a firewalk instructor and I know what it is to have this fear. And I have taken like over 400 people over the hot red goals. And I always say, welcome to the red carpet. and yeah. And so I have seen fear in the most realistic way, because obviously fire is something that brings up that fear in us, conjures all these fears.
Yeah.
And actually, we can go back into our heart and melt into the love that we are. Well, anyway, to sum it up, million thanks to you for making this happen, for making this space, giving us the
Pleasure.
opportunity for talk, and all of us to communicate in this way. And what I just wanted to say is like, lighting the fire of peace is about concentric circles of expansion of love
Beautiful.
that goes from the
Beautiful.
individual, the relationships, our communities, and the earth. And everything is engulfed by the peace that each of us create. So each of us is responsible to be in peace with our lives, with our creations, with how we respond to situations. And all of this that is happening right now is asking us to be more courageous and go one step forward in speaking our truths, in speaking from our hearts, in being there for one another and being united. So I think this situation is like we can all respond from a much more beautiful, pure way of being connected to life, to the earth, and to each other. And from there, generate a way of life that is sustainable for the planet, for each individual, and to everybody deserves to be realized, to be fulfilled, and to have a beautiful life.
Yes. To make the most of our experience on Earth.
Yes, everybody. Yeah. So I think this is
Flor,
the way I wanted to just close it off with that. So, because I am aware that we had all these technical problems. And you have to go, and it's a beautiful day to continue with our tasks.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with us again. Thank you so much for your time, for your wisdom, for this message of peace and love, which we all have access to. And that's very empowering to know that we have access to that wonderful tool, which is peace, and it lies within us. That's so empowering. It's not out there. We don't depend on anybody to get it. We can reach it within ourselves. So that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Flor.
Thank you.
When people want to reach you, where do they send them?
Okay. They can reach me in, well, I have a YouTube channel. Yeah. And then they can reach me there on Espaciarte, WordPress.com, or on El Viaje de Marina.
Thank you so much, Flor.
Thank you very much.
Have a wonderful day.
Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Love you.
Love you.